She hasn't been heard from for a week, something her family says is unlike the UBC student. 21-year-old Elisa Lam never checked out of her LA hotel, and she was traveling alone. Today, the police called on the public for help. The CBC's Lindsay Duncombe has more from Los Angeles.
It starts with a girl in an elevator. The doors slide open. She steps in, presses every button like she's trying to escape something invisible. The doors refuse to close. She peers out, hides in the corner, waves her hands as if talking to someone we can't see. And then, she vanishes. That footage would soon travel across the internet, terrifying millions. But what you're about to hear goes far beyond a viral clip. It's a story of a missing girl, a haunted hotel, and a death that still makes people ask, what really happened to Elisa Lam? Elisa Ho Yi Lam was born in 1991 in Vancouver, Canada. Her parents had immigrated from Hong Kong and ran a small restaurant, working long hours to build a quiet life. Elisa was a curious soul, a writer, a dreamer, someone who found comfort in books, Tumblr posts, and travel plans. But behind that curiosity lay something darker. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. On her blog, she often wrote about her struggle. Some posts were hopeful, others read like quiet cries for help. She wrote about loneliness, pressure, and wanting to escape the heaviness inside her mind. But she also loved exploring, meeting strangers, and documenting her adventures. In late January 2013, she decided to take a solo trip along the west coast of the United States. San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Cruz. She wanted to see it all before returning home to start a new semester. On January 26th, she checked into a cheap downtown Los Angeles hotel called Stay on Main, which shared a building with something infamous: the Cecil Hotel. To most tourists, the Cecil looked like any other old city hotel, but to locals, it was something else entirely, a monument of tragedy. Since opening in 1927, the Cecil had witnessed hundreds of deaths, suicides, overdoses, murders. 2 serial killers had once lived there, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, who strangled prostitutes with their own bras. Even after the hotel rebranded, its reputation never faded. It was the kind of place that seemed to absorb darkness. And into that darkness, Elisa Lam walked alone. At first, Elisa shared a room with other female travelers, but after just 2 days, hotel staff moved her to a private room. Other guests complained she was behaving oddly, talking to herself, leaving notes on beds, locking people out. It wasn't threatening, just strange. Something was off. January 31st, 2013. The last day anyone saw Elisa Lam alive. That evening, she visited a local bookstore called The Last Bookstore. The owner described her as lively and friendly. She bought books as gifts for her family and spoke about her plans after the trip. Nothing seemed unusual. She left the store and headed back toward the hotel. And then, silence. When Elisa didn't call home, her parents grew worried. She called them every day, so her sudden silence set off alarms. On February 1st, they contacted Los Angeles police. Flyers went up around downtown LA. Officers searched the hotel, every hallway, every room they could legally enter. Cadaver dogs were brought in, but they found nothing. Days turned into weeks. No activity on her credit cards, no phone signal, no trace. Then, the LAPD released the elevator footage, the last known moments of Elisa Lam. In the 4-minute video, time seems broken. She presses multiple buttons, steps out, looks around as if someone's following her. She hides against the wall, steps back, waves her arms. sometimes wide, sometimes strange, like she's arguing with something invisible. And then she leaves. The doors, which had refused to close all along, finally shut. The footage spread everywhere. Some viewers said she looked possessed. Others thought she was on drugs. Some believed she was playing hide and seek. But everyone agreed. Something about it felt wrong. Theories exploded online. Paranormal forums called it ghostly interference. Others said she was running from someone. People zoomed into every frame, claiming to see reflections or shadows, faces in the mirror, figures in the hallway. But nothing was confirmed. Meanwhile, the Cecil Hotel kept operating as usual. Guests checked in, water ran through the taps, brown, foul-smelling, low pressure. People began complaining that the water tasted strange. And that's when the story took its darkest turn.
On February 19, 2013, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa vanished, a maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez went up to the roof to inspect the hotel's water tanks. The hatch on one of the tanks was open. When he looked inside, he froze. Floating face up in the dark water was the missing girl. The police arrived immediately. Firefighters drained the 1,000-gallon tank and cut it open to retrieve her remains. Elisa was found naked, her clothes, the same ones from the elevator video, floating beside her. Her watch and hotel keycard drifted nearby. There were no visible injuries, no signs of struggle. Forensic testing revealed no drugs or alcohol in her system, other than her prescribed medications. There were no indications of assault. The autopsy ruled her death accidental, listing the cause as drowning. But that only raised more questions. How did she get onto the roof? The door leading there was locked and alarmed. Only staff had keys. To reach the tanks, she would have had to climb onto the roof via a fire escape, then scale a ladder up to the top of the giant water cylinders. The hatch openings were small, difficult to enter, nearly impossible to close from the inside. If it was an accident, it was an extraordinarily strange one. Detectives theorized that she might have experienced a manic episode. In a state of confusion or hallucination, she could have wandered up the fire escape, climbed into the tank, and accidentally drowned. But this theory still left many details unexplained. Why remove her clothes? Why did the elevator doors malfunction? Why did the footage seem edited with missing timestamps and jump cuts? Theories multiplied. Some said someone chased her into the tank. Others believed a staff member was involved. A few went even further, claiming the Cecil Hotel itself was cursed. It's hard to overstate just how infamous that building had become. Before Elisa, countless deaths had already occurred there. In 1962, a woman named Pauline Otten jumped from her 9th floor window and landed on a pedestrian below, killing them both. Others overdosed, vanished, or were murdered. Locals started calling it the Suicide Hotel. Some believers thought Elisa's death was supernatural, that she'd become another soul absorbed by the building's darkness. But there were clues in Elisa's own writings. On her blog, she wrote openly about her struggles. Posts described moments of panic, fear of losing control, and episodes of paranoia. Her medications suggested a severe bipolar diagnosis. Missing just a few doses could have caused disorientation, impulsivity, or hallucinations. Could she have imagined danger, fled to the elevator, climbed into the tank, and accidentally drowned herself? It's plausible, yet something about this scene refuses to settle neatly into that explanation. Even years later, investigators revisited the footage, looking for signs of tampering. The time code skips, and the elevator doors remain open for an unnaturally long time, as if someone edited the video or disabled the safety system. If someone was outside the camera's frame, we'd never know. And the biggest question remains, how did the lid to the tank get closed again? The maintenance worker swore it was shut when he arrived. Elisa couldn't have closed it from the inside. The case spiraled into pop culture legend. Online detectives scoured blueprints of the hotel. YouTubers compared her gestures to occult hand signs. Others linked it to movies like Dark Water, a 2005 Japanese horror film that eerily mirrors Elisa's death. A girl in a haunted apartment, a malfunctioning elevator, and a body found in a water tank on the roof. Coincidence? Maybe. but it only made the story darker. In 2021, Netflix released a documentary titled Crime Scene: The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel. It examined every theory from mental illness to murder and revealed how internet sleuths nearly destroyed innocent lives while chasing conspiracies. Even then, not all doubts were put to rest. The Cecil Hotel was eventually shut down, partially renovated, and rebranded yet again, but its reputation never left. Locals say strange noises still echo through its empty halls. Elisa's parents filed a lawsuit against the hotel, claiming negligence for failing to secure the water tanks. The court dismissed it, ruling that her death was unforeseeable. Officially, it remains an accident. Unofficially, it remains one of the most haunting mysteries of the 21st century. The image of Elisa in that elevator still lingers, her hands waving, her body twisting, her fear almost tangible. Was she seeing someone or something? Maybe it was her mind turning against her. Maybe it was someone chasing her who was never caught. Or maybe, in a hotel with nearly a century of tragedy, she became just another secret the building refused to give up. What do you believe happened that night? Accident or cover-up? Tell me your theory in the comments, and if you want more chilling mysteries like this, hit subscribe, because next time we're going even deeper.